Hello everyone, welcome to Kitabi Cabins. My name is Charu and today I will be recommending books from classic literature. I completely get that classic literature is very intimidating, especially for beginners. But I know all of you haters out there with the attention span of a goldfish. You need to trust me when I say that classics are the holy grail of literature. These are the books which laid foundation to the modern classics. As a reader, when you will start reading classic literature, and why I think it is more important to get into the classics at certain point in your reading journey is that you'll see authors like Proust and Dostoevsky that they'll start talking about an idea, let it be grief, and वो 100 पेज तक they'll just write about grief and you'd realize कि जितना कुछ भी था लिखने को about that topic has been already written. I am here with very easy, काफ़ी शॉर्ट, इतनी ज़्यादा थिक पेजेस वाली किताबें भी नहीं हैं, recommendations for you. The first book that I want to talk about is Childhood, Boyhood and Youth by Leo Tolstoy. Compared to the other classics available out in the market, it is very easy to read. It is loosely based on Tolstoy's journey as a young boy and into his adulthood. Interestingly, when I started reading Tolstoy, I started with short story collections, and by the end of it, I was so taken aback because I had read or heard every single story in some tamed down form from one source or the other. कोई moral story की किताब में पढ़ी थी बचपन में या किसी टीचर ने सुनाई थी ये कहानी. So I think it's very important to read classics in this form to get to the original story and see the other form of media and art being weaved from it. The next recommendation I have is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is a very slow read and is very wordy. But I read this when I was 16, and I think if a 16-year-old kid can go through this fat book, anybody else can. To this day, this book screams with the angst and the rage Jane had with her. Jane is our protagonist, who is a meek little girl who is struggling with the love, identity, पावर, मनी, प्रेजुडिस, जो इतनी खूबसूरती से इस 500 पेज की किताब में लिखा गया है. दिस बुक इज़ डेफिनेटली थोड़ा सा कमिटमेंट देने के लिए है, बट इफ़ यू कैन सो डेफिनेटली पिक दिस बुक अप. अलॉन्ग द सेम लाइन्स आई वांट टू रिकमेंड वाइल्ड सार्गो सी बाय जीन राइस. इट इज़ अ feminist and anti-colonial prequel to the Jane Eyre, and if you are along this route of reading Jane Eyre, so please do get your hands on the prequel as well. Again mentioning, I don't want to recommend Dostoevsky for complete beginners, but even I've talked about it in my previous videos. If you want to start with Dostoevsky, get your hands on Notes from Underground. It's a very thin read, आराम से पढ़ी जा सकती है, especially for beginners, and then get your hands into the brothers Karamazov and the other world of Dostoevsky. The next book that I want to talk about is A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. This book is iconic. बहुत ही छोटी पतली सी किताब है. Hemingway in this novel is writing about his life from Paris in the 90s, जब सारे artists of the generation are there in Paris only, सारा gossips and all the shenanigans and the fancy writing session that take place in Paris around the time when everybody was there. He writes about his friendship with F. Scott and how he despises his wife Zelda. There is entire monologue जहाँ पे वो Zelda की बुराई कर रहा है कि why she should not be with F. Scott and she'll ruin this man. There's a very famous line from the book which I'll recite out loud. If you are a lucky man to have lived in Paris as a young man, then wherever you go for the rest of your life, it stays with you. For Paris is a movable feast. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Breathtaking prose and extremely short. Steinbeck's को अगर आप वक्त देंगे थोड़ा पेजेस के साथ में तो he writes beautifully, but I think this is one of his shortest read, hence very good recommendation for the beginners who are starting with him. Another book I want to talk about is On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I love the beats. I love a good Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac moment. Beats were all about the men. The writing is obscene. You'll, by the end of the book, perhaps quit your job and go backpacking around the countryside, or you'll hate this book to your extreme, but this book will end up stirring something inside you by the end of it. Next book that I want to talk about is Memoirs of a Dutiful Daughter by Simone de Beauvoir. It is honestly intimidating how well read and how beautifully she was writing when she was a teenage girl. It is an account of her early life living with her parents and her journey towards intellectualism and questioning the world from a very feminist point of view as well. The next book I want to talk about is Shadow of Young Girl in Class by Marcel Proust. Proust is the guy I was talking about जो 100-200 पेज तक एक ही टॉपिक पे लिखता रह जाएगा and he'll make you so small as a writer कि अब कुछ भी नहीं बचा लिखने को. The guy has written everything that has to be written about the topic. This is also a point which I think कि जो लोगों को बहुत boring लग जाता है कि why should I keep on reading about a same topic. You might not agree with what the author is trying to say at certain places, but remember ladies, at the end of the day, the books are supposed to make you question your beliefs, and any chauvinistic disregard against an author would not make you go any place. So that is it. These are my recommendations for today. I will wrap up the video now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being kind, and I will see you next time.